Good evening and welcome to Lenten Talk. I also believe that you are having a good time and your Passion Week has been a pleasant and a joyful one too. Wherever you are in any part of the world, some few things with you, something to reflect at this time of verse 1 to 12. You see, one of the amazing things in life is that against Jesus happens to be members of his community. And no wonder that 23 verse 1 to 12, the Jewish elders, they resaw what anyone has got to say, no matter their view, no matter their understanding. They have resolved within themselves that it must be executed. And guess what? The Roman law at the time, you say, I'm saying this from the perspective, say, I can say to you that historically, that the Jewish elders had no authority under, the governor, Pilate, to obtain as it says. As I've said to you, I've practiced law all my life, and I know a bit about what the law is all about. You see, under the rule, before you convict someone of any crime, you have to prove your case beyond a reasonable doubt. And that is the same principles apply. You need to have a convincing evidence against the accused before you can try to ask all the fundamental questions. And he noticed, so Pilate knew that he also noticed that and I just wonder that sometimes many of us, we tends to say we despise injustice. But you need to ask these fundamental questions. Perhaps you lied against them, but perhaps you say things that lack merit in nature and in content. You are envious of so and so. They find it difficult to accept that they are envious. But envy and strife is a nature that is in everyone. It's an issue. When your envy becomes to Jesus at his own time, the people that persecuted him put up malicious and frivolous arguments against him that they are people of his family, his tribe, the religious people, the people from his own constituency. And that brings to a serious question. That in today's world, we all want democracy, because that was what get Pilate. He said, I found nothing in him that can warrant his execution. But the people said, we want him executed. That's democracy. And we all want democracy where the voice of the people prevails in decision making. So you also need to understand that because majority want certain thing does not necessarily mean they are right. Majority necessarily means the majority are right. It all depends on what is bringing them together. What is the conspiracy that is bringing them together? So, because someone's glory is shining better than yours, is still not a reason to switch off their own light. Just imagine when Cain killed Abel, that doesn't make him a better person. That doesn't mean his life was going to get better than anybody else. So we all want democracy, but democracy, as we know, has always been majority But majority not necessarily means they are right, but the voice of majority prevailed. Luke 23 from verse 1 to 12. That Herod was woefully disappointed with the desire. He knew that their desire lacked merit, both in nature and in context in it at all. And he was so disappointed with people, and he reassured him. He referred the matter to an higher authority than him to adjudicate. But the question is this: he had the crowd. Are you in that situation, that position in your life or your decision making, that you're very quick to listen to or reflect on, and you never consider a second view, a second opinion? What's your perception about issues, about as friends come to you to destroy your friends, to say terrible things about them, and you just feel, okay, now you need to jump on the bandwagon and believe? One way or the other, many of us have been guilty of that. And that was the situation this gentleman found himself. That people they were supposed to speak for him, democracy helps to prevent injustice. But in this case, democracy promotes injustice. In this situation, that injustice, then in this case, democracy promotes injustice. Even Pilate himself was so appalled that he asked the crowd 3 times why the crime he has committed. So in today's world, there are many in prison for offenses never committed. There are many in prison for offenses never committed. Some went to jail for years before they were late punished or accused today, or perhaps going through what they know nothing about. There's so many in jail today. There's so many going through difficulty and challenges. There's nothing that have been wrongfully committed to prison based on frivolous evidence. Sometimes the crowd and the noise of the people may influence society. You see, in today's world, we are daily faced with matters of injustice in our countries, in our world, wickedness in human hearts. Both the rulers and the ruled, we can only conclude that the will of the Father is for the Son to die, so that he may provide the way of that wherever you see injustice, if you cannot do anything about it, then don't keep quiet, then you need to speak out. You need to voice out. What can we learn from the Lord's composure during the argument is that when God seems too silent in our situation today, do we take offense? That's another lesson. Because at that time, God was so silent, power in the majority, right? Well, if you say the answer is yes, what kind of power? Because people that had power at the time of Jesus, they used the power, the majority power was used contrary to what the Lord said, was sent to death for an offense not committed. This don't be part of injustice. Do what you need to do to make sure justice prevails.